Hello world, here we are. This is the debut episode of the SAScast. Joined by a delightful group of people around me here today. Here to discuss our life experiences so far. Believe it or not, we are all on a cruise ship in the middle of the world's waters as students, exploring various countries, seeing a variety of cultures, and sharing a great life experience together. So just to give you a little bit of perspective about where we are on our way to Croatia. We've been to 3 countries so far, being Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. We began this voyage on September 9th in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and our end destination is Dubai in the UAE on December 22nd. So crossing our fingers that we make it. But you know, so far so good. A lot of memories have been made. A lot of good people to be around, and many memories still to come. So just to give you all a little background, my name is Max Moses. I'm the host of this podcast, serving as a student assistant on this voyage. We're on board the MV World Odyssey, which is a cruise ship composed of students, of staff and faculty members that are known as faculty, companions, which are adult members of the community that are joining faculty members as just support systems or as world travelers. There's also ship kids, which are the little ones on board, hanging around, learning and exploring their identities as well. And then we have a very unique group of lifelong learners, which are people that want to continue their educational journeys as people and learn about the world even more. So I myself am a student here, joined by 7 other students around me right now, and we'll let them introduce themselves and get us going here.
Okay, I'm Imani. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I'm a gap year student on semester C, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next.
Slay. I'm Scout. I am from Austin, Texas. I'm a sophomore studying communications at the University of Michigan.
My name is Gia. I am from California, and I'm studying journalism.
Sorry, we're not a memory.
My name is Corinne. I just graduated with a degree in robotics engineering, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I am Sophia. I'm from Northern Virginia. I go to UVA. I'm a 3rd year there studying media studies.
I'm Emily. I'm also a post-grad student. I just graduated with a degree in political science from the University of Oregon. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here. I'm from Hawaii.
Okay, I'm Victoria. I'm from Chicago, but my family just moved to Hawaii. I go to the University of Washington in Seattle, where I study biology.
Great. I'll finish us off here. I'm currently a senior at North Carolina State University in North Carolina, studying human biology. So I'll also add that we make up 8 of the over 400 students on this voyage. So it's a small ship, but jam-packed with people. But very tight-knit community, very good group of people to be around, and we're making the most of it every day. So the first topic that I want to cover is pretty simple, but it's summarizing our ship experiences so far in one word. What is one word that we think individually is a good summary word for each of our experiences so far?
I can go first. So I think the word that first came to my head was unexpected.
You stole mine.
But I think in a very positive way, in terms of what I expected from the places we were going and what I thought about the ship community and the people that I would be friends with. I think if you compare this experience to the one that I had at my home university, it's pretty different because of where we're going and what we're studying, and the relationships proceed really fastly, but I think in a really good way, which I was not expecting. I think like what I think of is like when we got off the boat in Portugal, I was like, I feel like I've known you guys since like grade school, even though we met like 5 days ago. So I think, yeah, the unexpectedness of like how fast relationships form, even with like faculty, friends, even like professors, and like how different each port is. And I think even unexpected for myself is like how fast every person adapts to traveling, like planning the night before and then getting to the country and being like, okay, let's go. So yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say like chaotic, but also going off of what you're saying, like it with the relationships, like Corinne and I were in our Airbnb with friends and we were literally saying that like we thought that we had known each other for years when it literally has been a month. So that was really cool. It's been chaotic just because like you keep changing, you keep planning different things for different countries. Like once you recover from one country, there's just another country. Like it's a lot, but it's really amazing.
I would say expansive. Not only just because you're doing so much in such a short period of time, but I've felt myself really stepping outside of my bubble of everything I know from back home. Like SAS is just so like out of the realm of what is normal everyday life. So I've definitely felt myself noticing things about myself and just where I came from and the beliefs I have and just like stepping outside of that and seeing what other perspectives the world has and what other cultures the world has. I just felt myself really grow a lot so far, even though it's only been a month, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what everyone has said so far, I definitely agree with. My word was gonna be exciting. I just think everything is, even when I'm like exhausted and just want to take a nap, that's still exciting in a way of like, it's because I've been doing so many things and talking to so many people and meeting so many people, and I don't know, it's just really fun, and there's an excitement about doing literally anything, even just eating dinner. Like you can be talking about the most random things and laughing as hard as like harder than you think you've ever have in your life, and it's just really fun and exciting.
I completely agree. I think that my word kind of just builds off of what everybody else has said. I thought overwhelming when I first heard the question, but I think I'm thinking overwhelming in a positive connotation because it's just like so much is happening all the time. Like you're growing so much. It's like they're all positive experiences that we're getting, but it's just so much in a good way. You know, like you can't grow in a bad way, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say life changing, just in the way that, like Gio was saying, I feel so much more connected to myself after coming on SAS, and like I think that I have learned so much about myself and who I am as a person, and I'm so much more secure within my sense of self being here that it really has transformed my experience on SAS to be completely different than it would be if I came at a different time or if I was in a different like mental state. So I'm really grateful for SAS for giving me that opportunity to meet so many new people and stay grounded within my sense of self.
I would say probably exhilarating. I feel like I could build off of what everyone has sort of said already, but I think coming onto this ship, especially as a gap year student, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. This being the first time I was away from home, and I think with each different experience, there's something to learn about and something to grow from, and I think that idea in itself is something that is constantly exciting me every time I wake up in the morning.
Absolutely. Great words. You know, I would also, for myself, I would say that it's been pretty developmental. Just because there's so much happening, you know, like Emily said, you know, we're from country to country so quick. You know, learning so much, growing so much, figuring out things on the fly. You know, booking things. You know, the day before you get there. You know, meeting new people that you haven't seen before that you begin to travel with, or sticking with the same group. A variety of things that allow us to, you know, see the world in a special way, and you know, like Scout talked about, you know, really finding who we are as people, as individuals, kind of navigating life and enjoying the moments. So I think for all of us, we're growing very much. Not to speak for everyone, but I think we're all figuring out a lot at this moment. You know, being in different parts of life, but all being, I wouldn't say stuck, but on a ship with so many people of so many ages. I think the youngest person on the ship is 3 years old, which is nuts, crazy to believe. But she's figuring out stuff just like us.
She's recently 4, actually.
No.
Recently 4.
No, not yet. She turns 4 in Greece.
Oh,
Four in Greece.
Happy
She's
birthday!
got a little cake birthday party in Greece.
Oh,
that's so
okay. So
cute.
4 years old to be saying, which is crazy to think about. I was not on a cruise ship at 4 years old.
Have you been this many places at 4 years old?
No.
Yeah.
Crazy to
Oh,
say.
When I was 4, I went 9 to 9 different countries.
Oh,
So you're
Like,
okay.
no, not me, her, when she gets older.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is definitely, making her mark early. But then we'll go into, open discussion here and just, we can bounce off each other, really explore, this question on all sides. But why are we ultimately here? Anyone want to, start off and say, why they're here, why they chose to come on this, probably one of the most crazy study abroad programs in the world that someone can be a part of, that I am knowledgeable about. But any other thoughts about, why you came here?
Say, if no one else has anything right away, I can start. So I'm one of a lot of people. This is the 13th voyage and I'm the 5th person of my family to have done semester at sea, which is like crazy to think about when you think about the numbers. But like I grew up with my parents just talking about how much this program and the experiences that they had like made them into the people who they were today. And so just like kind of growing up in that environment, I never really had a moment where I was like, yes, I want to do this, but somewhere at the end of high school going into college, I was like, yeah, this is a thing that I want to do. And so I decided to do it. I chose spring 2020 as my semester to do it. And I did that, which was a whole experience in its own right. Spring 2020, as you can probably imagine, did not go as planned. And so after that, I was like, no, this is really a thing that I want to go back and like not do right, but like kind of get the experience that I was more expecting the first time, which I don't really know how you can expect an experience like this, even knowing more than probably the average person coming on the ship, having had so many family members do it. But like, I don't know, it's just been really interesting to be able to compare those two experiences and just, I don't know, it's been fun and I'm excited and happy that this one has, knock on wood, been going to plan and that like, I don't know, it's a whole different experience and so it's just been really interesting.
Going off that in the complete opposite direction, I just found out about SAS from like a TikTok 3 years ago. And I just saw it randomly and I was like, oh, this looks cool. I was a junior in high school and I looked into it, decided to sign up to be a gap year like Imani for fall 21. And so I had been prepared to do it for years, like going into it. And when that got canceled, I was like devastated, but decided to just go the next year. So here I am. And then after being in school for a year and feeling like very stuck in my home institution and feeling like I needed to leave, semester at sea was really like there for me to let me do that. And I'm really glad I did because it's given me this experience that like I would never even expect to have had my whole life.
Yeah, so also going off of that, kind of same, because I was supposed to be on the fall 21 voyage, and I also found out about it through YouTube, not TikTok, like watching Emma Tom and like Gracie O'Connor, and like that was, I think that was the start of my, like the pandemic when I really started watching those videos. And then I got addicted, and then I was like, oh, this looks really cool, like them going to all these countries. And I have this goal of, when I'm 25, I want to have gone to every continent, except for maybe not Antarctica. That's not set, but like the other ones. So I was like, oh, this would be a great one to do. And I always wanted to study abroad because my parents and all my cousins were doing it, and they did different programs. And I was like, this is completely different from what everybody else has done. Like, this would be a unique experience. And I'm the first one in my family to do it too. Yeah.
Can I ask how old you are and how close you are to your continent goal?
I'm 22 and I'm not very close.
Right.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time.
So you're gonna get 3 here.
Yeah. So I've been to obviously North America, Europe, and now Africa because of Morocco, and then I'll be Asia soon. So
That's more than
that's yeah. So I'm like, I'm on track. Yeah.
So similarly with how I found out through like an Instagram ad, I think my freshman year of high school, and now 6 years later I'm here. So I was like, immediately when I found it, I was like, I need to do this. Like, this is for me. Something that really drew me to it in the beginning was the sense of community that we get when we're on this ship. Like, when I started doing research, that was the big thing that stuck out to me. Like, you know, you talk to your professors, you sit with them at lunch. Like, that's something that you don't do at a home institution, like stuff like that. You see SASers in port, and you're like, oh, like a sense of like, oh, I know you. Like, we're going to go home to the same place after our adventures here. And we get to sit down after and all talk about the things that we did. And we're also excited for each other. Like, that's the one thing that, like, I just absolutely love about it, is that we're all here to support each other in every way. Like, there's no, like, oh, you went to do this here, I went to do this and I had a better time. Like, it's always like, no, like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you had that experience. That was so great. It's just like such an uplifting community that we get to be a part of for the rest of our lives now. So that was the one thing that I was like, that's amazing.
Gia, that like, oh, that just that makes so much sense in my head. I was applying to colleges, and I remembered like for the entirety of my senior year and like the year sitting up to it, I was like, I want to go to college. I know I want to go to college, and that felt like the path that I wanted to be on. But then as I got closer to it and like the school decisions started coming back to me, I just remember sitting there thinking like, I'm going to be doing this forever. Like, is it really the most important thing in the universe for me to go to college and like get a job and follow the traditional path that everyone follows? And then it seemed like all signs in the universe were just pointing towards semester at sea. And it was my brother's friend's older sister had just done it, and somehow I met up with her in a cafe, and we had done the same things in high school, and then I was like, wait, let me look into this. And then I remember watching one of the videos on YouTube that Semester at Sea posted, and it was one that talked about Ubuntu, which is the word that's I am because you are. And I remember just sitting there in my kitchen, and it was like, I had this revelation. And I was like, this is it. I was like, I gotta go. And that was how I like decided. I didn't tell my parents I was doing it. I didn't tell them I applied to it until I got in, and I was like, oh my god, I did a thing. I was like, okay.
You did a thing.
That was how that came about. But that just felt so like seeing that community and knowing that that felt like what I wanted to see in the world. And it just made me so happy. There's not a good way to put it other than that, I think.
I agree with the community thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I feel like I came from the opposite aspect. Like, that's why I kind of said unexpected, because I didn't think a community like this would form. I kind of saw it as like an opportunity to travel because I love learning. So I saw it as like a break from STEM and like me being able to travel. But I think the community part is like the best part about it. And like the travel wouldn't be what it is without the community.
Agreed.
And I did it because I was like, especially the first few days of the voyage when people are like, oh, like, where have you been? I'm like, not really that many places. I looked back and I was like, oh, like, I haven't really traveled, but it felt like I'd been to so many places because I had gone to those places with like friends or family. And I think that I wanted to expand that, but I didn't realize that I also wanted to expand like relationships. And like we already have like talked about plans to like go back to places and things like that, which I think is really exciting. But I think, so the travel drew me in, but I think the community is what like keeps it going, because like at times it can be really draining and really like overwhelming, like people said, but the people are what makes it worth it.
I think the community, like you guys are saying, is really what makes SAS. You know, like you can travel to all these places on your own, but it's not going to be the same experience, because especially when you're doing it surrounded by college students, you know, we have so many people on board, like lifelong learners and staff, but just the community of college students together, you know, being young and like pursuing their education, trying to expand their mind, like it's a really special place to be. So I would agree.
It's so weird to think about it, because I feel like I watched probably every video posted by anyone ever about SAS before I got on the ship, and they were all like, oh, the SAS community this, and I was like, is it really that great?
Okay.
Are you guys being dramatic? You got a scholarship, didn't you? It's like you guys all of a sudden, it's like, wow. It's like they said it so many times, but you really can't put it into words to really express how it really feels to be in this community.
I think that's really interesting, because like since I grew up kind of in the environment of people who had done it, I did like zero research going in. I was just like,
pretty much
my parents did this, it seemed cool, like cool, I'm gonna do it. And their parents were like, okay. And I was like, cool. But like you still get that sense of community from listening to them talk. Like my dad, like I still hear stories constantly of my dad's voyages, of like how his ship ran aground when he was a junior in college, and they had to go finish their classes in a hotel in Israel. Yeah, and how like all the different things that they did like on their way there and on their other ports, and like looking through pictures, and like the people that like my parents talked to for years after they like stopped being involved in the program. And like I don't know, even it's there, the community it really is there, and it's just so interesting to see like different perspectives of that, and just like it's really there.
I was really nervous going on to SAS, honestly, because I wasn't sure if, like what you were saying, like everyone was talking about the community, but I didn't know if it was kind of fake or whatever. But immediately, like day one, this is gonna sound so cheesy, but I just felt so welcomed by every single person on board. And I think, you know, being a young college student, like traveling around the world, it is a scary thing to do, but you just get so much comfort from being surrounded by everyone here.
Yeah, I agree with also that welcoming. Like, literally, I took a taxi. My parents didn't come to Amsterdam with me, so I took a taxi on my own. And then I got off, and, like, there were 2 people there just waiting for my bags to come and help me. And I was, like, so welcomed already. And then just going back to what you guys were talking about with the community aspect, like, I sort of felt like I had to explain to people beforehand, like, part of the reason why I wanted to do SAS was because of the community. And they're like, why don't you just travel to these countries? Like, it'll be a lot cheaper. And I'm like, but you don't realize, like, this is part of the experience that I want to get to. Like, you get so close to people, partially also because you don't have internet. Like, you have 100 megabytes. It's very little. And so it's like, I don't know, you're kind of forced to get to know people. Like, you can't just stay in your room all day.
Yeah, but I think it is like a little like magic bubble. Like the ship is like everyone has the same like positive feelings toward the ship, and I think I'm always excited on the last day. Like whenever we're taking the bus to the train, like I can't wait to go back. And hear what everyone says.
The ship is home.
It's like you do your own experiences, and then you come back because like you don't always travel with people you're friends with, and like I feel like everyone on the ship is kind of friends. Like you know everyone's name, and like you know everyone. So it's like you love hearing other people's stories, and it's like. Yeah, I think the community is like built into the ship. So like 100%. It's like the back on ship feeling. Like everyone is like when you see the lights, you're like, oh.
When you can see the lights from the, from like
We like coming back in Spain, our taxi driver's like driving past, like no, it's right there, the lights, it's there, and he's like. What? And he like literally had to back up. Turn. He's like, "This is where." We're like, "Yes, this is where we're going."
I know people are like, "Oh, you guys are Sunday morning." I'm like, "Yes, but no."
It's also crazy how much how fast the ship felt like home. Like as soon as we got back on the ship from Portugal, like the 5 moment days. 5 days that we were driving, and I was like, "Oh my God, here she is!" Like I'm home, I can relax now, and especially after. Morocco, after having so much stimulus around all the time and being so exhausted, the moment we see her from the taxi, I'm like, oh, thank God, like she's here.
The staircase.
Yeah.
Every time we walk up
again,
I'm like,
Next move is like I know anything to add.
I love hearing other people's opinions. I like to kind of take the back seat in group settings, especially kind of start out and kind of, get people engaged and then, kind of hear them out. But no, I'm happy to share, of course. Going back to the whole community thing, I think, I didn't really know much about the voyage either. Coming to it, I actually have a twin sister on the voyage.
Who is she?
She's
so cold one. I didn't know that.
Did anyone know that?
At least
Lonnie knows.
I didn't know that.
At least Moses. So yeah, twin sister.
She's so cool too.
Who wanted to go on it before, I think she said 8 years she wanted to go on it for, so she was pretty locked in. And I hadn't gone abroad yet. I was, coming up on my senior year, and I thought, I need to go abroad. Like, I want to go abroad. Apply thing was going to be difficult. I don't know if you guys thought it was going to be difficult to get in, but I got an email like 3 days later.
I
was like, double take. I was like, did I
was like, did you guys read that essay?
You did. I was a student, but I wasn't expecting, instant response. But I mean, pretty much I came for a study abroad experience, but now that I'm here, it's like, it's the community is so unique in that you're walking to class and you pass someone that's 40 years older than you, or
You're like, hey,
or 10 years younger than you, or right around your age, and it's like you have such an opportunity to talk with people and hear their life stories and understand like where they've come from, because like they've been in your shoes or they haven't been. So it's like giving you a chance to one, provide advice, or two, to listen to someone's advice, which I think is so amazing.
Yeah.
Not to worry.
That also reminds me of like just how you were talking about like you could pass by people and know them. It's like also the same thing with the crew. Like you have your steward who always says hi or like whatever, and then you go to your favorite dorm like food area, and then you have the people that come and get your plates or whatever. If you go up to them, they know your name, and it's like very welcoming, and it's always the same people, so you just get to know them pretty quickly.
Yeah, the crew is also part of the community.
Yeah.
It's not just the students and the faculty. Like, I love being friends with the crew, and I love having them on board. I just wrote a note to our steward today, and was like, I love you. Like
they make it what it is.
Yeah,
We
for
wouldn't
sure.
be here without them.
Yeah.
Literally every time I see someone who I know, they're like, "Hi, I'm like, hi."
They know everybody's
They
name.
know
Everybody.
One of the Rod in the dining hall literally
I love
recognized me
Rod.
from spring 2020. He
Yes.
says, "You've done this before." I
Oh,
said,
wow.
I said, "Sir, it has been 2 years, but yes, I have done this before." And he was like, "Oh my God, hi!" And I was like, "Hi!" And like every single day when I see him, when I like go give him my cup or go get water or something, he's like, "Hi!" I'm like, "Hi!" Oh my God, hi! And it's so like it's so cute.
It makes
It's
you
so
feel so like
yeah.
belong there. Like everyone knows, and like you all hold the same place. And like with that, I think everyone has like the same sense of like acknowledging of why we're all here. Because like although we come for different reasons, I think at the end of it, like you're all here for a very similar reason. Like I can't put my finger on it. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like whether you've come to like although it's choosing like to find yourself or like you're confused, like something pushed you to do something so like out of this realm, and people are like, "Are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?" Like, there's something that obviously pushed us, and I think that's what forms a sense of community. Is like you're here for a reason, and like we're here for one reason that like ties us all together, which is why we're doing this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I feel like when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, let me go to class on like Lido, and it's like, oh, I gotta walk up, oh, there's the ocean, and it's so easy to forget that we're at school on a ship, and it's like sitting in this room, like thinking about it, really thinking about it.
It hurts my brain a little.
It hurts my brain a little bit. My heart's being like squeezed a little bit. It's just so the coolest, like what you're saying. It's so crazy that we're all here for a reason.
Yeah.
So cute to think about the relationships you form with literally everyone.
Yeah. I was literally walking just like down deck 7, just like gonna go to the bathroom or something. I don't even know what I was doing. I was just sitting outside studying, and I like literally had to stop and be like, I'm here right now. Like this is where I am.
It's very
the water is right there.
Yeah.
Like Italy is like right over there.
Yeah.
And like this is where I am right now. And it was like a moment of like, and it's like, okay, back to what I'm doing, because it's like you don't think of it, and then it like hits you, and you're like, shit, like this is really what's happening, and it's like it's so surreal to like think about. Of like,
it's hard to think about.
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, no, it is. It's like it's so hard to describe.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is like I'll get up to go get a glass of water, like during dinner, and I'll talk to like 12 people, like crew, faculty, other people, ship kids, and I'm like, this is so weird. And I'll go sit back down at the dinner table, and like everyone's like, just like the energy also in like Berlin and Lido is like so similar, and like in the hallways, like it's the same energy everywhere, like. Everywhere, like it's hard to describe, but like that energy is all over the ship, which is I think what makes it home.
Yeah, I think SAS is just such an indescribable thing. I even catch myself when I'm talking to people back home, trying to describe like what I've learned and grown from. I don't even know what to say, but I feel it. You know what I mean? And I think in a lot of ways, I'll still be processing what SAS brought me for like years to come. You know what I mean? because it is so surreal. You just sometimes have to remind yourself what's going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard to encapsulate in
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's more of a feeling.
Yeah, I had one of those moments yesterday. Well, one with literally studying for a test and looking out and seeing Italy right there.
Mhm.
That was crazy. But another part was when I was in the pool with a friend yesterday, we were all just like, wow, we're in the middle of a pool on a cruise ship in the middle of the Mediterranean and Italy's right there. What the heck? The fact that we could say that sentence was so wild to us.
Yeah, and I think the types of people that it attracts, there's such a variety of people, whether you're international, whether wherever you teach, whatever languages you know, I think people bring so much to the table. Even people that I know that go to my school that I haven't met before have such different things to be brought to the table and have such different ideas, and especially when we all share global and doing cross currents. It's so interesting to hear people's ideas, and I love it because I love being educated on things, and hearing it come from the person who's experienced those things is so much more educating than just being taught at.
Yeah.
That's also part of it.
Getting on, I felt super unsure. I remember the third day I got on the ship and I was like, what am I doing here? And I looked and we were on the ocean and there was not really any land anywhere. And I was like, everyone my age is going to college right now and they're probably studying for tests for real, and I'm on the way to a new country. But then it's also sometimes you just have those moments where I remember just various times on the ship and I sit there and I'm so certain that this was probably the best thing that I probably could have done ever, because you get to learn, what Tori was just saying, you learn so much from so many people in so many different ways that it's sometimes you're just having a conversation with someone and it's crazy to think that I could be in a classroom for 4 years straight and never know something like this. And then I'm here now having a conversation for 5 minutes and I've been taught so much more than I could learn from a book or from a professor with 3 PhDs who did whatever.
Yeah.
Not that it's not important too, but
Yeah, that makes me think this is one of the most one of the most important moments for all of us in our lives because of the variety of people that we're around.
Yes.
You were talking about how you're meeting people that are from all over and they bring so much to the table. But it's there are people from all over the world, and there's no, up until now we probably haven't had a moment ourselves where we've been around this many people in such close proximity where we can talk to them in an instant and learn so much.
Oh, yeah.
And with the crew being from all around the world, with us being from all around the world, students, staff, everything, it's pretty crazy to think that you can walk up to someone and hear their life story and they can be from thousands of miles away from you, and it's I just had that conversation and it meant so much to me. It's
and everyone's very intentional in their what they do here and what they say, which I think is important. No one's just oh yeah, I ended up here. You are, you have your intentions, and I think you have your intentions with the people you talk to always, and even the professors and the staff and the crew. Being intentional adds to the whole voyage because you're here for a reason and you're not just letting it pass you by. I think everyone has those reflective moments every day where they're they sit there and they're you blink and you're God, what is going on? And sometimes some people journal and some people have conversations at dinner, which I don't really see as much in my homeschool. More very personal connections and deep conversations, because there's no way that you couldn't have those here.
Agreed.
You're forced to reflect on something every day.
Yeah, when I was at my home institution, my freshman year of college, I had a dining hall in my dorm, so I would eat alone every day, go back up to my room, not really do anything, go to class. But here, I'm always around people, and I love it. I love talking to new people every single day, even the people that I've known since day one. You learn something new every single day about anybody on the voyage.
You said it super well. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say, going back to the why are we here question, I think something that really drew me to SAS, and honestly I didn't even realize drew me to SAS until they said it on orientation day, was that nobody knows us here. So for me, I come from a town that was a little bit suffocating to me, and that's why I left for college. But being able to just be who you are and nobody knows your background, you get to share what background you want to share. You get to, say the experiences that you want to say and connect with the people in the way that you want to authentically, not based off what those people heard about you last year in chemistry class or whatever. So that's something that I think SAS provides a really good, like foundation for thank you for being able to be our most authentic selves. They say it like every pre-port, like be your most authentic self, like okay, like it provides that space.
That also, like, sassers take care of sass.
Oh yeah.
It's so cheesy, and they say it all the time. But, like, it really is a real thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, those things like,
Yeah. Or like going back to what Max was saying, like I don't know, my roommate, like saying how people are from all around the world. I'm from Hawaii and my roommate's from the Canary Islands.
Wow.
Like literally, probably if you put like a hole through the world, like it'd be halfway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, it's really cool because then we also have like similar experiences in the fact that we're both from islands, like, but it's literally all across the world, like it's crazy.
Yeah. Somebody said it in global. This is what I was thinking when you said that, Max. She stood up and we were talking about intercultural communication. Thank you, clap. And Sophie was just like, I don't know why we refer to some students as international students.
Yes.
That's some of us. Like, when you really think about it, all of us are on a ship that's far away from home. And it's such an interesting, because I don't think if I stayed at home, I would ever have this experience where I have finally fallen out of a place that I feel so similar and so like to everyone else.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm similar to like to these other people, but it's like, I don't know how to say it, in different ways, but also similar ways. Yeah, that's all. That's
like, you're so different to the point where you're similar, and you're like,
yeah. That's
it
the
came
thing.
full circle.
We all have the same.
Yeah.
We're all from different places, but we have the same common experience
Yeah.
of doing SAS and
Yes.
doing it for the same reasons, and
Thank you,
whatever.
Scott.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, you're so welcome.
Cool. It's great to hear like how we feel about such a surreal experience. Like it, and there's so many more days to come. I think we're approaching nearly day 40 or something, or somewhere close like that. And it's like it's like I think it's 105 days
like
we're on
day
this for.
100.
It's like the
The
community.
day I've been here my whole life.
I knew Tori when I was in diapers.
And that's the thing. Like I hear people all the time saying like, I feel like I've known you all my life, and it's like people have that experience and they feel so good about it, and then you become so close with people, and it's like you form best friends, and you can't. And what's so unique about this experience that I just thought of is like, for example, back at home, if you meet someone new, and they're not like close to you, you may not ever see them again.
Right.
But it's like you meet someone here, and it's like, more likely than not, you're going to see them
No, you
again.
will.
You
Like
will.
every
Right.
single day.
Yeah.
You see
I would say-
one time, you see them 10 more
10
times.
more
all of a
times.
sudden,
Yeah,
they
no,
disappear
for
everywhere.
dinner tonight, like there were some people I'd seen in passing, but we had an extra spot at our table, and one guy was like, "Is anyone sitting here?" I thought he just wanted the chair, and he was like, "No," and he just sat down. And then like some more of his friends sat down, and like I've seen all of them, I've met all of them briefly, but like we had several hour conversation. I was late to coming here because I was talking to them, and like had completely lost track of time and like what all was happening, and it was just like that doesn't happen at home. Like you see people in passing, you have the people you go to class with, and like you see them in class, and then if you don't have another class with them, you're probably never going to see them again. Even like I went to a small school, there was only 5,000 of us, which is like a lot bigger than here, but it's still relatively small. And like there's people who I literally have only seen in the class that we took together and never again, where that just doesn't happen. Like
It's always I know you, but what's your name again?
Yeah.
And then it's like after that, you see them everywhere.
Yeah, or every
Yeah.
time it's, hi, what's your name? We've seen each other around, but
Yes.
we've never met. Like,
Yeah.
every time, because everybody sees everybody around
Everybody.
all the time.
yeah, it's like I could pinpoint the exact like moment that we had like went in passing and like had seen each other, but like did I know his name? No. But like now we know, like, will I remember his name? Hopefully. But like hopefully. But like
You don't really know
I just
until
sit
you
there
see
and
them
I'm
again.
like,
Yeah.
this is their name, this is their name.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's also it's really interesting in that aspect, seeing people and meeting them on the boat, and then being in country and not having any travel plans together, and then randomly
Yeah.
seeing each other like a different city than we ported.
No,
in.
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
good. In Marrakesh, we were walking through the streets, and I was like, where am I going? And she was, Victoria said, There's no way. There's no
It's
way.
crazy because I think that also bonds you. Like,
Yes.
meeting somebody one time and then seeing them in country, you can be like, oh, hey, like, what are your plans? We should meet up. And it really lets you meet more people even more than you would on the ship because you're constantly seeing new people, not only on the ship, but all over an entire country.
Yeah.
And everyone's got their experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like their hardships, or they're like, we almost missed this train.
Yeah.
Or we almost did
Yeah.
this. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's what turns into stories. But then like that's when you come back and like you're stressed, and that's what makes it a little bit overwhelming. But like everyone can sit back and laugh at it
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
it is laughable.
Yeah.
Like, all the things
Yeah.
you go through, like in the moment, you're like, I'm gonna cry. I
Yeah.
gotta go home.
I
Yeah. Like, I
don't even know where I am right
until
now.
the one, I just want to be in my bed. Like, I miss that weird smell on the floor.
Take me back to the cabin,
Yeah.
please. To the bunker.
The
The
bunker.
bunker, please. Take me in there right now.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I've literally like every country I've ran into a SAS person that's
Mhm.
like over an hour away from the ship.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so unexpected. It's like it's crazy, and I'm like, I kind of hope I keep this up.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
So
We
much
just
fun.
take over the country, so you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
You
Or like I've had people in country like if we've booked tour experiences, people have been like, oh, you're with the ship. Oh, you're the sea school.
Yes,
I've
yes,
had
yes,
multiple
yes.
like workers or whoever in country, a hotel,
Like tour guides,
Yeah,
yeah.
tour guides. You're with the sea school. Yeah, we are.
We had one tour guide that he was driving us around in his van, so don't judge that. He's a very nice guy. But he actually at the end came and dropped us back off at the ship because he was so excited that we were living on a ship and he wanted to see it. So he took us all the way back and I don't know.
No,
People in the
yeah.
countries are so
They
excited that
wanna
you're
hear
doing
about
what
it.
you're
That's what
doing.
they
Yeah.
were in Spain was,
Yeah.
she kept turning around and being like, so can you explain more?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, a sea school, like, so you do school, and like,
Mhm.
who's on it? I don't understand. And it's like, we think of it as like something that we do, and it's like just we're so used to it at this
Yeah.
point. Like, I was used to it like 3 days, and I was like, this
Yeah.
is what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
We're
going to
here.
class. So, like,
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people hear about it, especially other people in countries where like studying abroad isn't really a thing, because like to us, like they live abroad, so that's just their daily life. So seeing us do this, like traveling the world on a ship, they're like,
What are you doing?
can you repeat that?
Are you really
Run
in
that
school right
back.
now?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You must be lying.
And that's where like sets in that that we're really doing this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's like you step back on the ship or you get off and you kind of like look around and it's like I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like that will continue for however many months we have left.
Yeah.
Or days like this, I should say.
Left.
Why?
The months are slowly going down, which is horrible to think about.
Say that.
Don't
No.
even.
No.
I can't even
Thinking
think about
about the last relationship.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if we can we all could have had and we may have had moments that have been tough, that have doubted our abilities or doubted our confidence, and it's just really meant for me. It's like to hear all of us say that in a matter of I guess we're 6 weeks or so in, it's like to hear how much it means to us.
Yeah.
And to hear how excited we are to keep going forward with this, it's like it just shows that experiences like this are here to stay for a while, and if we're enjoying it, then so many people out in the world should be able to enjoy it and take advantage of it if they can. So it's great to be here, and it's great to share such valuable moments. So what are we looking at? We're looking at about 45 minutes here.
For one question.
And that's
Cut it. Done. There's the door.
and that's the beauty of it. It's I came in with questions to ask, and the beauty of talking in a group like this is that people bounce off each other. People ask the questions to others, and like we've heard tonight, people relate to each other. People talk about similar experiences. So we can end here with one last little question.
Go for the 45
Yeah.
We'll go with one little kind of closed question here. I'd love to hear everyone's answers if you'd like to share. But the one question I do have left to ask for tonight is, and it can be a brief answer, but what do we each hope to still do on this voyage? What have we not kind of checked off yet? I know there's so many things that we've kind of accomplished, with ourselves, but is there anything that you're still like, dang, I wish I could experience this. I wish I would have experienced this sooner, or not sooner, but I wish I would have had this moment. I'm still searching for. Is there anything that, and not everyone has to answer, but if someone has anything in mind of something that's just I still want to do this, or I still want to kind of feel this in myself.
Yeah, I think immediately what comes to mind is like to hopefully get to the point where I come into a country with zero expectations and like zero judgments and prejudice, because I think that we're in country long enough where those can be strewn away, but I think it kind of skews your view the first few days. So I think once we get to a point, I'm hoping like halfway through where you're comfortable with a group of people, we've learned enough in global, we've talked enough in our classes where you learn to go in with a completely open mind, like not just you being like, oh yeah, I'm so excited, but like you being genuinely like, I don't know, I know about the country, but I have no judgments on like their religion, their people, their community, and I'm so ready to learn about it from the people who live there.
Yeah.
And I think that'll make the country people's favorite, because you just learn from the people, and it's like, how can you not love a group of people who love where they live and love where they come from and instill values from their own country into you, which is I think what you get from each place. Like what you get from each place, if you take a little part from that.
That was
Beautiful.
good.
That was
That
good.
I mean, just adding on to it, I would say just taking it all in. Like, because all the countries are so different and their culture is so different, and just like no judgment, just take it all in.
I would say, I mean, something that I've been talking a lot with the people on the ship is just like the fear of SAS ending, and like how one day we're gonna have to go back to home and everything, and I just want to let go of that thought and really be present here, because I think in a lot of ways that distracts from what's happening here. So just taking it moment by moment.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say, of like making sure to take the time to like really absorb everything, and also to let spontaneous things happen.
Yeah.
I like planning. I like knowing what I'm gonna do, but there's also so much that can come from just things happening that you weren't expecting, that you weren't planning for, that you weren't like didn't even think of as a possibility, and like trying to leave space for those opportunities to happen. I think is like my biggest goal of the whole thing. Of like, I've done it before in environments where I'm more comfortable, but kind of getting used to and comfortable doing that in environments where I'm not as comfortable is like, I think my biggest goal for the rest of the voyage.
I think for me, something that I really want to accomplish by the end is something that we've heard Dean Kyle say a lot, but be comfortable in the uncomfortable. I feel like for me, I still have a lot of anxiety sometimes going into countries, just because like for me, SAS is the first time I've traveled really without my parents. So like planning things by myself, being with people like without my parents and the safety of that. So learning to be comfortable in the experiences that maybe aren't something I would usually choose to do at home, but I'm doing here because it's like SAS is a once in a lifetime thing. You got to do it.
Yeah, I would say for me, I by the end of it want to be completely okay with going against the grain of what all the other people on SAS are doing. Obviously, we all do different things in every single country, but every country I feel like there is a general consensus of who's going to this city and who's going here for whatever many days, and I want to be comfortable doing what I want to do whenever I want in country rather than following other people just because I feel like that's more comfortable.
I think this one is a little hard for me to articulate because I don't quite think I fully understand it quite yet, but I think thinking ahead towards the end of the voyage, which I know is be in the moment, but also I fully understand right now that with each new country and each port and each experience I have on the ship, I'm learning something. But I think because there's so much happening all the time, I can't fully process everything that I know. So I can't wait for that moment at the end of the voyage for me to fully be able to understand not every experience, but a lot of the experiences that I have that I think will be fundamental experiences, and see how they shape me going into the future. I'm excited for that, personally.
Absolutely. I'll just say briefly, and then we'll wrap up here, just because we all have lives to get to, and various tasks to take care of. But like Victoria said about, really learning from the people who are in the cultures and in the countries. I've done some of that, but I would love to do more. To like really, not to do as much of like walking in and exploring the country and like learning about the country, but more of like learning about the country through the people and like talk to them and like hear their stories. And there's so many stories here, but to be on the ground of a new country and to really learn from those people that are in that country, whether they're from that country or not. It's a special thing, I think. So we'll conclude here. I just want to thank everyone here at this table.
Thank you, Maxwell.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have completed episode 1
Yay!
of the SAScast. Again, I want to thank the people at this table for being vulnerable, for being comfortable around each other, for sharing moments that they've had that have been enriching for them. I'm going to end every episode with a piece of advice.
We're listening.
What do you say this time?
With a piece of advice, more as like just something to keep in mind. And I think it's something we can all do as we go forward more. It's something that I thought about that I could do more of. And that's to say thank you to people who have gotten you to where you are. A lot of the times we, for example, and they're equally as important, but you'll walk into the dining hall and you'll say thank you to someone for taking your glass or something, and that's a special moment. But we all got here because of someone else or multiple people. Whether that be family members, friends, anyone that you've known that has pushed you to be your best self and to accomplish those goals and to get to where you want to be. We don't have to name anything now, but as we exit tonight, I just want us to think about how we've gotten here and definitely think about the people that have brought us here. Obviously, we have pushed ourselves individually tremendously to get here. So props to everyone here. We can clap it up. Clap it up for us pushing each other, us pushing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, to go out there and be uncomfortable, and just to maximize life in general. So we will close there, and until next time.
Yay! Thank you, Maxwell.
1:30.